Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. April showers bring May flowers, right? Alright, my canola, as I thought, was at 8 of 8 forage, so this should be harvestable tomorrow. As a reminder, I've got sunflowers growing on 2 fields. I'm short on oats, so my focus today is going to be, or my immediate focus is going to be getting some more oats in the field that we just harvested oats off of. Alright, so the seeder is set to oats because that's what we planted last, was that field. I guess I can go ahead and pick some of these seeds up. That will, obviously empty one of those, or, empty it a little bit more is what I mean. Obviously it's not going to fully empty it. It didn't disappear. But, yeah, so let me head down and run a couple of headlands down here so that I have room to turn around. But yeah, the goal is right now immediately get some oats in the field. So get this moving along here, and I feel we'll be in good shape. I'm thinking that 1473 was literally what it took to plant this field, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's kind of where we end up again. But at this point, the more I can throw into the seeder, the faster I can clean up my yard and get this stuff out of the way. So, if you haven't seen the last episode, I definitely, first time I've really asked for direct feedback to make a decision on what I'm going to do. I'm looking for some guidance from folks on if they think we should buy a field, first off, and if they do, which field that would be. There's several options. Again, it's toward the tail end. I talked quite a bit, probably a good 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the last episode, so if you haven't seen it and you want to weigh in, go ahead and do that. So at this point, I'm going to try, and my intent is to wait to make any kind of a call on the field, because there just isn't urgency at this point, short of what was driving it is field 19, which is kind of behind me a little bit, behind me and a little south. Has sunflowers growing on it right now, and I don't think I'm going to have enough sunflowers to fill both levels of VIP orders, which means I'm going to have to, right now, with the fields I have, replant sunflowers. And the thought was, well, I got this nice large field, and you'll see 19 start coming in on the mini-map in the bottom right corner of the mini-map, so you can see the number there now, give you an idea of where that field is, and on the map, and then you can see visually a little bit through the bar up there. But yeah, the piece is, sorry, I'm just trying to lock myself in here. I think that'll work. Just a matter of, is this gonna, that won't work, because this is going to move over. So I'll put that here, and then and that's about where it's gonna start planting, which was kind of my point. Is it going to plant there? That's not good, because if it is, then I probably need to start back here. I'm thinking there might be enough overlap there that I don't need to worry about it, but as this field moves over here, obviously going the way I wasn't going to work. So yeah, my thought was buy 19, and then, hey, I'll have a planted field of sunflowers that I can just take advantage of the first time, which is all well and good, except it means that I have to spend money on a field, and the field is not, from a estimation of its soil potential, is not as good as some others that are nearby. And so that's really kind of what the question is if I should buy a field, which one? So rather than rehaving the discussion here, I'll just again guide you back to the last episode, and if you just want to weigh in on that part, you can, again, maybe go to the last 10 minutes from the end, and then take a peek, and I think that would get you close. Whoops. Losing track of whether I have the planter up or down. But yeah, at this point, what I need in the next few levels of VIP orders, again, is either growing, we're working on it right now, or is happening in the farm, or in the barns, I should say. So we've got some slurry needs, and eventually we're going to need some butter. So that was part of the issue. Is there are things like purchasing some productions that are going to have to happen to meet the plank and the butter order, as an example. And so the question then became, do I just skip the field and just keep building up cash, and maybe we get substantially further ahead, because some of the fields I was looking at, one of them, we need a couple thousand more than we have right now, and we'll have that very quickly once we get the VIP orders moving again. The canola, as I said, will be ready tomorrow, and then that's one of the things we can... Actually, I think we're saving that one. We don't need canola, so yeah, we've got a little bit of time. Was kind of my point, I guess, of when I had said there isn't urgency. And that was why I'm saying that, because right now I can make do with the fields I have. So I'd like to get some involvement from folks in the community. If I'm being honest, I'm a little worried that my channel's not that large yet. I might get one person responding. But hey, that's how a community starts, right? I mean, it would be great that I had enough viewers jumping in that I could have 5 or 10 people giving their information, and hopefully one day I'll be like some of the other larger folks like Farm Sim Guy and Daggerwin, where we'll have hundreds of people weighing in on something like that. It did give me an idea, however, as I've been between episodes, that I'd certainly be open, I think, to a series using VIP orders that was basically, to some degree, user-driven, kind of I do what you're asking me to do, focus on what you're asking me to focus on. I'm trying to figure out, like, if I did that, how the logistics would work. Because obviously if I'm doing it, where in essence, hey, I'm just kind of your employee, per se, in that you're telling me, go work on this part of the order. Like, I couldn't make the next episode until I had feedback from the current one. And at the pace I'm doing these, I mean, they're a week apart, so in theory that could work. I could just literally not film any episodes ahead, and just look for the responses and wait. Basically, there would have to be some sort of a agreement, like, all right, I'm gonna wait 24 hours for comments, and if I've got somewhat a definitive path, I can start you know, or maybe I wait 48 hours to make sure I give people in different time zones and so forth time to view the video. 24 seems too fast, you know, and so as I sit here and kind of mull it over, I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe that would work. It just, I think it would have to, you know, replace something else that I'm, you know, kind of doing now. Alright, I was kind of trying to keep track of where I was at, so where was I? This is 22, okay. So 26 I think is off the field. Yeah, because this is 25. Alright, so I'll do 25, and then, because it's 4 over, so now I'll move over to 21. And then I'll continue that way. But yeah, you know, so it's an intriguing idea of getting more interaction. It's just, I don't know if it's too soon for something like that. I think I've seen variations of that, you know, on someone like Daggerwin, and again, I mean, he's got obviously hundreds of thousands of followers, so he gets feedback pretty quickly because he gets thousands and thousands of views, usually tens of thousands of views of his videos in the first 24 hours. So, you know, it's easier to do something like that when there's enough folks around following. But if and when I would ever get to that size, I don't know if it, you know, would take a decade or something like he's been around for. And like I think I've said in some cases on some of these channels, sometimes I think, I guess I was 20, alright, I'm like, wait, I need to be on 17, but 17 I did. So anyway, I think this is good. 16, then 12, then 8, so forth. I've said half jokingly that I think some of these channels get big because they're British and there's people just subscribing to listen to them talk, and they could care less what they were doing. It just happens to be that they're playing a farming game. But I don't have that accent. You know, I could pretend, but at this point there's hundreds of episodes out there showing that I don't have it, so I don't think that would go over well either. And I'm not really looking to, you know, get a following because I'm lying to people about what I'm doing or what I'm like or whatever. So I'll let Farm Sim Guy and Daggerwin and those guys continue down the British path or the English accent, because I think, you know, it's possible some of them are Australian or something. But in any case, you know, that's what I was thinking about in between, is that would be kind of interesting, because especially about, you know, making key decisions, because, you know, there's kind of a medium that could happen in something like that too, and that, like, right now it would be very strange to make a different choice than, hey, we need oats. Sorry, just wanted to be able to talk clearly. But, you know, we're obviously short of oats. We need oats to finish this level of VIP orders. Unless people just wanted a bunch of wasted time, which, again, there's always that danger. But, you know, I think whatever I did, I would kind of reserve the right to override if I really didn't get reasonable suggestions. Because, yeah, I'm not looking to do anything crazy like, I'll just do whatever you want, and you just tell me. I mean, that's possible, I suppose, but then it wouldn't be something like a VIP order series. And I just don't know. I mean, I've never seen anyone do that fully, and maybe it's just because nobody wanted to deal with some of the ramifications of that. But it also might be because there's just zero community interest in something that's like entirely viewer driven. Because what I was saying, like the extreme end of that is like I literally do nothing without decisions from the viewers, and whatever you decide I do, and then we just take it from there, and it's kind of a massive multi-viewer choose your own adventure version of Farming Simulator, versus just, hey, here's this one choice I'm going to have you ask. Because I have seen that where there have been contributors, and it might have been Farm Sim Guy or Daggerwin that kind of, and I think it was more like in the survival series that Daggerwin was doing, if I recall, or the survival role play, where it was like, okay, we're at the end of this episode, and in each episode there was a decision he wanted you to make, and then that would guide what happened in the next episode. But obviously he then took the time to figure out, like, okay, this is where I'm going to let the viewers choose, and he would then have to figure out how his storyline would proceed depending on what they chose. And I think he also, if I'm remembering correctly, I think he also was just like, there's two choices, like you can pick A or B, and then I'll do whatever. It wasn't open-ended. And what I'm suggesting is just, hey, we do it, you see what happened in the episode from, what I was able to achieve, and then you tell me what to do next. But that would be the extreme. But I'm just not sure that that's compelling. And and the challenge becomes if people just suddenly, like, if suddenly the viewers that are there are just like, all right, we're just going to do things that drive him completely nuts just to keep doing that. It kind of takes away fun from me, because if I'm doing things that make no sense, that are just like, okay, they're just foolish, I don't know that I'd be thrilled with that. So anyway, that's just what's mulling around in my head, and figured I'd share because it just kind of came up since, hey, I'm giving people the opportunity to influence a key decision in the series. Do I buy a field now? Do I not? And if I do, what do I buy? If I don't buy anything right now, there's no other decision to make, and basically we're making that decision because we're saving the money to be able to handle future VIP orders a little cleaner, because we know there's certain expenditures that are coming up at a minimum 2 productions. So it's like I need 140,000 at least, maybe 150, because it's possible one of the productions is 80,000 instead of both being 70. But I'm also going to continue getting VIP order bonuses and things like that are going to continue to shore up the bank. So I'm at the point where I was enticed to look at the field, and now I'm just giving folks the ability to help me make that decision. Oops. Alright. Well, at this point, I guess I'll continue on here, since we're nearly done. Although, now that I think about it, that probably doesn't make sense, because it's still going to take me at least 5-10 minutes to finish this field up. I've still got to basically go all the way across the field, so scratch that. Let me finish, and I'll get you back when I'm done. So the oats are all good, and yeah, as I figured, we're at like 1,400 something. So, but once again, if I can keep the seeds filled up, just we'll keep things cleaner on the container front around the farm here. So I'm going to pick this up. I still don't think it's going to empty the... Oh, it did. All right. So let's see. We get a little bit of the next one. But hey, we got one pallet gone. So not a bad thing. But oats are in. Let me get this parked. All right, so if you understand Farming Simulator or you've been watching this series, you know the drill. Fertilizing next. So I'm going to get that done in my whole probably 3 passes again. And then we will be as set as we can be for a wonderful outcome for our oats. So just want to... I didn't run any headland, I'm just like trying to get it done. And it should work just fine. Might be a little gap there, but that's alright. Little segments like that aren't going to matter. So, yeah, I mean, if folks are still thinking about, hey, helping out, making the decision about buy or don't buy a field, keep in mind, you know, we're probably, you know, I'm likely going to be a few episodes ahead by the time you make the decision. So I think it's important because I think some people might be like, ooh, you know, we don't have enough money to buy, say, the big field. Because I think that's, you know, one of the things that makes a little bit of sense is I think field 44 across the, or down the road a bit, not 44, it might be 42. That's probably, might be the biggest field on the map. But at least it's like all field. You know, but I think it was 392,000 for that. And there might be a bit of hesitation, like, wow, you know, we don't really, that's going to leave us with nothing. But obviously this episode will already be done. Likely another one will be done. Like I'll have probably finished the level 4 orders by the time the other one airs, if not being even further along. So we may be at $500,000-$600,000 in the bank. So kind of make the decision that makes sense for the farm, and that you think will help be successful and will be enjoyable to watch to some degree. Because, you know, if there's a production focus or having productions operating, because what I likely do, kind of like with the greenhouse being a production, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. It's like the greenhouse right now is storing because I have an order coming up. So, you know, I have lettuce coming up at level 6, or I need 10,000 liters of lettuce. But once I have that, if I don't have other orders of lettuce that have come up in other levels, what I'll start doing then is just have the production facility start selling. And that will then generate income, and it won't require me to move things around. So it would be similar where if we say, hey, we're going to buy the carpentry, we're going to save money to buy the carpentry, and we're going to save money to buy the dairy to make butter to get this to stew instead of buying a field. You know, those productions then would stay unless for some reason I just said, hey, I don't want all these productions in my ownership. But and it would be the same thing if I was then running supplies to them, because certainly, like, once I have the dairy and the cows are continuing to function, rather than what I'm doing with the eggs where, hey, I don't need eggs, I would, I would say, well, I can run things to the dairy and just keep making butter and just have it automatically sell the butter, and then it would just be kind of ongoing income, almost like the greenhouse, and that would just grow and grow and grow. So, but we're also likely going to have $200,000 or $300,000 more in the bank by the time I actually have that episode air, and I read it, and you tell me what to do. So I think we'll be in good shape either way. So we may have done everything we can today at this point. One thing I didn't look at. All right, we're 100% productive. We paid $11.50 for the cows, so now they are worth a little more, but unless they start somehow doing worse, I don't know that my goal is to sell any cows. I've got a capacity of 1,000. Right now we have 20. That means these 20 cows need to create 980 more before I'm really worried about it. More importantly, they've created 4,300 liters of slurry. It hasn't even moved the dot, which is awesome, which would make sense for a pen that holds 1,000. I would think the slurry amount will be massive. So I would hope that the slurry, the 98,000 I need, is not like I'm going to have to take it partially. But I don't have enough oats. I don't have sunflowers. But again, none of these exceed the value of the cart. So there's no reason to make the trip early. So yeah, at this point, I'm going to call this an episode. And, whoops, didn't mean to hit the button. I'm going to call this an episode, and we'll move on. And I will see you next time.